Germans want to be in their country the first people who matter. They don't want to be the second or third. What used to be the establishment, what we used to know about Germany, it's like crumbling all around. And I look a little bit worried in the direction of my old home. Ex-communism part of Germany wants different laws, wants different ideas, needs jobs, factories, an income, a way of life. They also want to do something with their life. They just don't know what it is and get maybe some social security money. They want to go out and explore, but they also don't want to leave the country.
2025 elections in Germany have had quite the impact on social media, with the President of the United States and Elon Musk being extremely energetic and enthusiastic about the results. But what do you, as someone who's extremely familiar with the situation there, how do you feel about the elections, how they proceeded, and the results?
I'm a little bit confused why everybody's so excited, because Merz and the CDU, they always have the stand that they will not do a coalition with the AfD no matter what. It's called Brandmauer. What is firewall? So in that sense, I don't understand the excitement at all, because as of now, there is in no way any coalition happening. And everybody has split up their votes. Everybody in my surroundings, when I was in Germany, people had their ideas. They knew who they wanted to vote for. And in that sense, people have splittered all over. They've gone all over the place. Basically, who used to vote for SPD or used to vote for CDU, CSU, these people have started voting for other people. So we have a lot of splinter groups. And I just saw today that about, I think, 200,000 votes from abroad haven't even been counted in. So that's people who have been voting by letter or from abroad. In that sense, I also want to say a disclaimer, I can't vote anymore. I've been too long out of the country, so I would have to go undergo a rigorous testing, what I know about the German politics. And I feel like I found out too late. You know, I was reading up on it, and I saw that if after 25 years you're out of the country, you have to show that you know what's going on in Germany. So, and I don't know if these videos count.
Right. Well, hopefully they do, and you can make a difference. But yeah, I don't think we could have anyone better than you at this point to discuss it, at least from an Indian perspective.
A disclaimer, personal opinion. Everything is my personal opinion.
Of course. No, but your personal opinion is very valuable for us. Considering social media, and like you said, you don't know why everyone is so excited, but it's been a long time since, you know, German elections saw that much interest from the rest of the world. A lot of it is because of Elon Musk. He has been trying to influence elections in Brazil, in UK, in the UK, in Germany now. So, but his influence has failed. So, what do you think about why it failed when it actually probably got Trump elected in the largest democracy, in one of the larger democracies in the world, the largest is us, but yeah.
I do not understand that at all, because Germans are like, okay, they have a certain mindset about America because of the certain media that is being portrayed. So Trump is not liked at all. Elon Musk is going the same way, because they're like perceiving him as this evil guy who's just like having this big online empire and fiddling around in the world. But what is very interesting, if we have on the other side people like George Soros, okay, that's one point. Then we had a very high voter turnout, like the highest since the 90s. What I find amazing, I find that young people are interested, young people go and vote. And they're more interested and they're more influenced by what's going on TikTok. Luckily, it is banned in India. I'm very happy about that, because the TikTok that I have seen in Germany, just by opening my dad's TikTok, I was like appalled. I just didn't like it. He watches only stuff that his friend is sending him. He sees cute things and he sees nice music or little like comedy and stuff like this. But his algorithm is showing a completely other stuff that I don't like. So the TikTok influence on these elections, it's much higher, even higher than Instagram or any other medium, because all the young people are on TikTok there. And you see that in the interviews, in the subsequent interviews that are being made with different age groups, who is being influenced by what. And Twitter is a marginalized, very small community. Yeah, I can also tell you why that is the case.
So I read that younger women sort of swayed the election away from the after, especially younger women. Do you think TikTok had anything to do with that?
I wouldn't even know that. That's interesting information because I was just not looking at the the only demographic that I saw is that what used to be the DDR has outright voted for the AfD. So that's a very big signal. That's a very big signal to the political leaders. And it doesn't help that when the going to be Bundeskanzler is making statements like, we're not going to do anything about the illegal immigration in the country. That was a shocker that I just saw the other day. And I don't know who he will make a coalition with, because the largest second party he's not wanting to talk to even. And then everybody else is small splinter groups, or like the FDP, what has been there for years and years and decades, is suddenly out. What used to be the establishment, what we used to know about Germany, it's like crumbling all around. And I look a little bit worried in the direction of my old home, my birth country. I'm a little worried about what's going to happen economy-wise, what's happening with the illegal immigration, because we have to look at it. It's a worldwide thing, and it is a scary thing, and there needs to be some law. You can't just let everybody into the country. I'm also not understanding why the people, like Germans, want to be in their country the first people who matter. They don't want to be the second or third people who matter. They don't want to be the second or third. And that is showing in the results of the election.
So you mentioned that, AfD made a very big impact in the former DDR. So can you explain that for our audience?
Yeah, so there was a reunification. I mean, Germany was split in two. So after the Second World War, so you had the more Russia-oriented part, like the communism. They had a very different life, and Germany was orientating towards America. So they had like a more materialistic consumer economy. They had that kind of idea about where the country should go, and it was split in the middle. And after the reunification, the other communist-oriented side had a big issue in trying to catch up. I mean, money was pumped into that part of the country. They were trying to do a lot in the infrastructure. Were trying to get jobs. But what has been established in one part for so many years, you can't catch up so fast. Plus, the people who grew up there, their mindset is different. Politics is having a big influence how you think and function as a human being. And I don't think people are aware of this topic. I don't think they know that when you are growing up in a different environment, political environment even, that your thinking process will be different. So I think that was also underestimated, what kind of problems could be there in the communication between people from this actually same country. So somebody from the left and somebody from the east, from the east and from the west, when they were communicating with each other, they were always like different words being used, different ideas being shared. So that is like somebody coming as a tourist to India and having a certain idea about the country and then being overwhelmed by the reality. I think that's the best example I can get.
But also,
1 second, is my light not coming back? 1 second, my light. I want my light back. Yes.
Yes, much better. So
that's better.
Right. The interesting thing why I asked this was the former communists are now voting for what is considered the far-right party.
Yes.
So that's
very interesting.
An extreme example, right? Like how the mindset has either changed or, finally the exposure getting to
I think they're getting heard. They feel like they're getting heard and acknowledged by a political party and not by the others who were there all these years. Is it the reality? I can't say that because I'm not living there. I would have to go there, talk to people on the road, like I'm talking in the south of Germany with neighbors, friends, people around me, somebody in the supermarket. So I'm getting my impressions from there. East Germany is a different mindset. And I think there is that TikTok influence that people were discussing online, that AfD was very active on TikTok, spoke about issues, talked about you need jobs, you need a future. So I think the whole ex-communism part of Germany wants different laws, wants different ideas, needs jobs, factories, an income, a way of life. They also want to do something with their life. They just don't know where to sit and get maybe some social security money. They want to go out and explore, but they also don't want to leave the country. They're like connected to the earth that they're standing on. They don't want to just go and migrate to somewhere else where they can get jobs. They want to stay in that part where they grew up, or where they're growing up. So it's very, I think it just has to do with that. They all want to have like more better economic chances.
Makes sense. So essentially, TikTok supersedes X in Germany. That's definitely a thing, right?
Yeah, I think the threads, I heard, we're talking Twitter or threads? Sorry, I was zonked out.
Sorry, X does not have any ground in Germany as much?
Not as much, and it's an interesting thing because it's such a happening thing here in India where people are discussing and talking and are really happy with each other, and or fighting with each other, depends on where you are on Twitter, on X. So I spoke to a journalist years ago, and he said, I'm not there because I said something and then I got in trouble and my account with everything. So I was like, huh? Because I don't understand that here a lot of people say what they want to on X and there are no repercussions. And just now, anybody who's interested in this more, they can watch the CBS interview that just came out on 60 Minutes, where they are asking, where they're talking to lawmakers and executive powers like the police. And they had actually done raids on people who have used certain language on X, where they are talking in a mildly derogatory way, not even using very abusive language, but just saying something X, Y, Z is a little fat to be that why, that's why, that for this position, or stuff like that. So they were very, very, I didn't see any, or maybe they just didn't say it in this episode. Not to use vulgar language in an online interview is not a good idea. So these people, there was a huge crackdown all over Germany, where they were just like storming into normal, like you and me, people at home, confiscating the phone, confiscating the laptop, and saying you cannot say these things online. You cannot use. So the interviewer was saying, yes, it's very common. Of course, you're not going to use the Hakenkreuz. You will not deny the Holocaust, and you will not use swastik. What I've stumbled across, because she's an American journalist and she used this word swastik. And I was like, isn't she aware that this is a completely different thing? And if she's saying this in an interview on CBS, the whole Indian community, the Buddhists, the Jains, whoever is used Japan, they're all going to go like, excuse me? So I think that's another thing that I found very weird. So she asked this question in this context, asking, so these things are clear, but if somebody says something bad, why is this such a big thing? And it was explained by the people who were interviewed that it is if you use abusive language to a person directly, one-on-one, that means you and I, we have a tiff, and that's it. But if you use it online, it's going to be there. And it can be used, it can be misused, it can be changed. So in itself, I'm a little bit like, what is about freedom of speech? And at the same time, yes, there shouldn't be so much hate speech online. Because the West can be very aggressive. I find India still, even when they're fighting with each other, they don't come up to the level of hate that I have experienced once from the UK swapping over all over me. They are just like a different ball game. So maybe Europe needs these kinds of laws. It's I don't want hate online. I don't want to use bad words online. I don't want anybody to call me bad words.
Right.
But how much policing are you going to do?
Correct. That balance is quite difficult. So, yeah, you mentioned Threads. How is that doing? And do you use Threads, right? You're quite the.
I've been pushed into it. I've been pushed into threads by fans. They were like, please come and have a look at it. And I was curious. And first I went into I took a different account. I made a different account just to see. And that first account that I made was all like questionable content, So I deleted that account and went under my real account that's linked to my Instagram on threads just to see. And then it was the complete opposite because it was all sugary, sweet content, all these uplifting stories. And I'm like, every day I see the same story. Oh, that guy helped me out and that guy paid my bill in the supermarket, or that it's all these kinds of things. As there is no negativity on the platform that I experience, and I'm doubtful these are human beings.
So there was this algorithm change that Elon had suggested a few months ago about making content more positive on X. That has not come about. But is that something like what Threads is, trying to push? Some fake sort of positivity?
Yeah. And my reach is basically zero. Like I opened it and I had like people from Instagram automatically following me, and I look at it. And I have tried a couple of things, like what works wonders. Whenever I tweet a picture in a sari, that works wonders. And when I do something similar on Threads, it's not going anywhere. So I feel like Threads is not into pictures at all. It's going into these long threads where like stories are being told and you read and read and read. Then some people are trying to make Indian threads so the community can come together. Then I saw a Jewish thread where that community is coming together, but it's a weird experience. I can't even put it in words. It's not like I come off and I was like, what was this? Like I leave the app and I was like, "Huh, kya ho gaya?" So I feel a little weird on Threads. I'm very much at home on X.
Okay. Interesting. I mean, I've never been there. I feel like I've seen some of the threads being screenshotted, and it feels like an older version of X. A lot of
Okay.
a lot of verbosity, a lot of words, and just trying to extend a nonsensical topic into something that is very moral and does not use brains. Like I think that fake sweetness, whatever you mentioned, a little bit of that, a bit of virtue.
I feel like sometimes I have the feeling, am I talking to a person or is this a bot that is just, churning out something? Because sometimes I see something and it's well written and the person is interacting and it feels genuine. And sometimes I see threads that I'm reading and everybody's like, oh, this is so nice. And I feel like something is off, like I can't even put it in words. It's an absurd emotion that I'm getting when I'm on it.
Interesting. I think you would like to see this. Let me share it with you, okay? I'm just going to share it on the screen because this is quite interesting. Look at this Reddit thread. Convinced that Threads is nothing but bots. and this was the first thing that I saw when I Googled it. Like, look at this. Look at the.
I have to zoom in.
Sorry.
Okay.
So
it's too small on my phone.
Yeah, no, there's quite a few people saying that, it's just bots because they're using the same sort of language, same sort of comments, and they are aligned a little bit sociologically. I guess that will translate politically as well. But the bots and yeah. So I'm just going to see this. You have to search for interests, follow threads that you like. But yeah, others say it's entirely bots and clickbait. Gave it a try, downloaded it, added friends, tried to use it, but it's all rage bait. So Meta desperately trying to prop up the platform with fake engagement. Out of the 600 people I follow on threads from Instagram, there has been one post from one person in the month I've had it. This is true, by the way, Susanna, because all of the people on my Instagram who follow it have not been, they're on threads, but they don't post that much. They'll post like,
they don't use it
once in a few months. So Meta has made FB and Instagram unusable and frankly unhealthy. It's all rage bait and sponsored bullshit. Sorry. beep it out. I don't know. I don't care about. And the amount of sponsored posts are insane, so they've deleted it. So yeah, this
Oh.
seems to be the consensus. And I don't know if you remember, but the thing about X before Elon was that when he bought it, he used this in court that there were way too many bots and very few real users, that was there to prop up the value of the platform. So if Threads shows that more people are using it, so obviously investors and stakeholders, their value is increased. So that's what
What I
happened
have
with.
also seen. Sorry.
So
I also seen there is one who's active with me, and she keeps on saying my account is being banned. Like on Threads, she's just posting really spiritual stuff, and she's being blocked and she's being reported for doing that. So she's having that issue, and that's a real human being because I'm DMing with her on Instagram. Then I have people who are saying, "Oh, I make money now with Threads, and see my engagement, and this is 5 million views, and this is 6 million views, and I'm getting money now." Then I see that. Then I see the same stories again and again. And if I say I have like 7,000 followers on that app, and when I'm posting something, I get like 2 likes or 10 likes. What reminds me of Coup, like a good following, but there is no interaction. I see Threads actually looking like Coup, even though on Coup I had more engagement than I'm having on Threads. It feels weird. Like you said, I called one person out. I said, "Listen, this is the 4th or 5th time that I see the same story." And I screenshotted and showed something, and that whole person disappeared. Like that,
Oh wow.
just gone, completely gone. I like couldn't find that person anymore, and that was really interesting to see.
So you mentioned coup. I will say that once my father received a call, like an actual call from a real human being at coup, asking for feedback on how to improve the platform, and they actually implemented one of the things that he had said. So that was
Oh,
interesting. I think
if
they
my
do.
young could, if my young could see that, I was one of the first to support Coup. I was like had a huge following in Coup. I was super excited. I love the language feature and everything. And then the engagement in the beginning was tremendous. It was just like an explosion. And then people saw that it is not X in Hindi or in Urdu or Tamil, Telugu or whatever. It is just a new app that is trying to make its way. No? So it wasn't enough time. X has
I
become what it is now over time. No?
No, absolutely that. But also, I think that there was this suggestion, which I think my father was right in this, that had it gotten some governmental support, because the economies of scale matter, right? X has, an immense number of users from across the world. Why would someone switch to Coup without a differentiating factor? There was no differentiating factor. There was no
They wanted
differentiating.
to do. They wanted to
You
do an app for rural areas as well. They wanted to give them the opportunity to interact on a social media app without having any issues with the language. That's why all these languages were introduced. So I used to coup in like 5, 6, 7. I think 7 was the maximum that you could use. And I used to coup in all these languages. And then people were like reacting to that as well. And there was a translation option in it. So, but what was not happening is this netting that that X is having, this netting where people are interacting more and it's like crossing like this. And that is something that needs to be built up over a period of time because Twitter was not like this, what it is now. When they started, it was definitely not this. So
absolutely agree. But I will say that with Coup, what happened was, one of the things that, had they received governmental support, in the sense that everyone posted 10 minutes on Coup before they posted on X. That would have
I did that.
gotten like this, no, people from the government, because that would force the journalists, all the press reporters, and thus their interactions definitely would have been pushed onto Coup. So
They
that
were
would have.
every journalist went on it. Every journalist went on it. Smriti Irani and everybody. They were Piyush Goyal. They were all first cooing and then tweeting.
Okay.
Because I was on both the platforms. And then they started the crossing where you could like coup and then share that coup on Twitter. And then people were pulling over to join coup as well. And I tried to make genuine content and like a little bit something different so it would pull people in. But what government people do, they copy paste. They don't have the time to do different things, and their message has to be clear and the message has to be out. So there is, I can understand that they can't do that kind of a thing. Journalists or somebody like Anand Raghunathan, who had a huge following on Coup, they gave up pretty fast, because Twitter is addictive, X is addictive because you're going on it and you just have like this direct interaction. And Coup was still it was a baby. And you can't pit a baby against I don't know, grandfather probably, because that's also something the algorithm learns over time, or how you work with the algorithm, where AI comes into the picture. Yeah, these kinds of things. So
That's so true. But also, there's not, I mean, X itself has grown over time, certainly, but it's changed a lot after the recent takeover, right?
yes,
After Elon's.
for me, for the better. For me, for the better.
Right. No, I'm sure most people find it better. What I do miss, though, when I initially started getting active on the platform, it was very informative. Like the way people write on threads, there were many threads with, actual primary sourced history, primary sourced scriptural knowledge. There was practical knowledge, everything. It was more educational. Now it is much more reactive, very engagement focused. I guess that's helpful. It makes people, allows people to connect more. But I feel like the educational value of the platform has gone down. The good thing about it is it's very dynamic. If at some point Elon thinks that this has the potential of working out and making X a better place, then maybe we'll see that again. But I do feel like things are very binary now, as opposed to previously. Like right now, it's batting for a team. Everything is into. You can't have nuance. Like, oh, I agree with this matter on one thing, and I agree with this person on the other thing. It's not possible. So because
you have to be very.
They're providing that sort of value. No, not possible. So.
To be like, I had to talk with Adi, and somebody was writing under it, you are too diplomatic. I said, why should I not be, like, answering that person actually? Why should I not be diplomatic? Why can I not have a balanced view on something? I don't need to be left or right. I can say things like, I find what happened to Beer Biceps guy, I find that over the top. I found completely taken out of, it was stupid, it was not good, he did a bad thing, but the country is in uproar. Hello. I completely say he did something wrong. He said something wrong. He was taken. I don't know what happened to his brain, but the reaction is not matching what actually happened, in my opinion. And if I put that on Twitter, then I will be attacked to be a supporter, even though I never watched him. I don't, the style is not my thing. Let's just put it mildly. So I never watched him, but I find this is like handpicked to make a drama out of it, and I want to know what is behind it.
Yes.
Like who he interviewed on his channel, who did he talk about, why did he talk, like the interviews he had with whoever all. Yeah. And you're attacking exactly that guy. Why? In such a massive way.
I actually wanted to ask you about this issue. I'm so glad you brought it up, because I think that the government running after him has gotten the government supporters, especially even the most vocal supporters, especially on X, have called them out. So I don't think it's a matter of political allegiance. And I love that the non-left, at least in India, is very, very open to criticizing the party they vote for. Because, it makes
That's
sense
good.
from a critical thinking, individualistic perspective, which is what, a lot of Hinduism is also about that, right? We value individualism based in society. So everyone agrees what he said was really weird and wrong. I was shocked, frankly. I was like, something needs to be broken in your brain to think like that. Then I realized that it was a copied joke from a sex worker. So, Oh, so it was, she's a very famous one. So it was copied. So I always wonder, like, he has this thing where he's very out of context. He seems to not
Mm,
flow into a lot of things that he says doesn't do not flow together.
yeah.
So it was scripted. So then
Mm,
I felt really bad for the guy. So see, I can understand that a case is registered. In India, people register a case for everything. And I'm happy with that because some things need to be taken seriously because it's very it's very weird to think like that. We don't necessarily want these things, percolating in society, especially to an audience that does not get to question him back. That's not the sort of thing that was happening. So
mm,
I was okay with that. But after that, three chief ministers going after him, them being hounded out of the country, and now that the bill has come out about the digital,
mm.
OTT digital oversight sort of thing. So I was like, it's definitely for something bigger. But it still does not make
Ah,
sense to use them as an
am I
example. It's
like
not.
death threats? The guy got death threats, and everybody had to say something about it. I was like, why is everybody opening their mouth on every topic? Kabhi kabhi to bhi chup rehna chahiye, bilkul.
Correct. No, Purva Makhija, the girl there, she's so young. She's a college kid. All of these people commenting, they go back to their colleges and do the same thing. They participate in their annual functions. I don't know of any college in Mumbai that does not host the same sort of college functions, okay? Whether it's
Yeah,
improv, whether
yeah.
it's dancing to Bollywood, break dancing, it's been going
Yeah,
on since 30 years. It's not new.
I know, I know, I know. It's sometimes they just hone in on one person, and then it's just so overwhelming. It's so much that I feel like again come back to the topic of bots.
Yeah. Well, it's not
Because
bots,
genuine attacks like that, this is literally over the top. And I'm happy that a lot of people like step out, like Sham Sharma, who like talked on his behalf, and some people are saying something. They're actually looking at it and say that was very bad, but you know.
makes sense. But
Mm,
yeah, anyway, that's the good thing about more about the Indian non-left. I think I've pointed this out before. They're the first to sort of criticize things when they go out of hand. So this
mm.
definitely went out of hand. But it
If
does
it is
show.
if
Sorry,
if
if
it
it
is
is.
genuine, yes. If it is for views that you're attacking the government, then it is no.
But, I mean, there's cloud chasing everywhere. I can't really help it. There's weird, things being called out that are utterly senseless as well, certainly. But this was something that related to social media, and kind of shows us how much the world has changed. And India, frankly, has no policy to work on this. We're talking about AI. We're talking about all these big things, but without a policy in place for digital governance, unless we're outright banning these things from influencing people, I think it's always going to be so haphazard and, uh, in a sense, dangerous for a lot of content creators. Like, imagine if you went full time on only YouTube and X. Suppose we started posting these videos on X, and at some point someone found it, the government changes or your state government is different or something. Someone decides that, this is not up to the mark and they hound us out of the country. If you can afford to go out of the country or you're in jail, that's very
Yeah.
scary. So one needs a sort of framework for what sort of things are okay. Frameworks
It is
should
so
be.
difficult because what is happening right now, I was at Synapse in Gurgaon that was on AI, only on AI. So the stories that are being like, we are being overrun by the advancements of AI and for internet and all these things. So you're making a framework, and by the time it goes through court, you need an update because something else has changed. So we are being a little overrun by the advancements of
Mm,
what we're actually using on a daily basis.
makes sense.
So that was a very interesting thing. And some people even go to the extent of like coming up with these like end of the world scenarios. And so it was very interesting to see who is on which corner and how they are like, again, politics influences everything, even AI, or
So
especially AI. I don't know.
Elon especially has been very much against AI. He's been very vocal about the threat it poses to humanity. It's very weird considering he's a Neuralink, but artificial intelligence is something that he thinks is very dangerous for humankind. So And on the other side, of course, we have people using it and then just saying that it's not jobs that are, you're not going to be thrown out of work by AI, you're going to be thrown out of work by someone who can use AI better than you. So everyone needs to upskill in AI. So
Perfect point. Perfect point. By the way, I have a picture with Sophia, that robot.
oh, that's so cool. You should
And
send
if
it
you're
to
standing next to it, that I mean, you can see it because of the movements and everything, but the face, that skin part here, you look at that and you go like, oh my God. Literally, I don't know if anybody in the audience has seen Westworld,
yeah.
but
Wow.
I mean, we are not far away from this because she is obviously to show how she is looking, but I think they can already make better ones. I'm very sure. And she has even a very genuine looking eye movement and the blinking. And I think if you would put a wig on the open part that is here, from far away, you wouldn't be able to make out if this is the human being or not.
It's incredibly dystopian. I do frankly think that eventually most human beings that are in touch, that are healthy, would not really care for all of these things because you want a genuine human connection. You don't want someone to, just assure you,
Yeah.
validate you with
Yeah.
a superficially validate you. I don't think that's a very normal, healthy human behavior. I don't think
But
that.
I'm always waiting in Amazon. I want to talk to an agent. I'm always waiting for that button only. I want to talk to an agent. I don't want to talk to this chatbot because it is not giving me the option. Like if I have a certain genuine problem that is not in your 5-item thing, then I'm just going in circles trying to find where can I actually get the human being that I can talk to, even though these guys started to sound weird. I don't know what's going on with Amazon because I have so many times now I had interactions where I'm saying subscribe and save, and nobody is like they don't even know what it is. One of your orders said no, my subscribe and save setting monthly car, I can't add anything new. So finally I did a phone call and then I had a human being and then it got sorted out. But in between with the chat agents, it's also like sometimes the language is like, do you know what you're writing? Where's this coming from? It's like very off-fish. Last 6 months.
It brings up quite an interesting point. I will say that, with quantum computing taking on speed now, you've seen Satya Nadella's Majorana, that qubit, million qubit. I think it's 1,000 qubit, right? So what happened is, just give me a second. I'm just trying to make sure I'm talking about Majorana correctly. I'll just bring that up on screen. So Satya Nadella introduced this processor, which is going to process. And one of the things that happens with artificial intelligence as it is right now is this sort of binary thinking, the binary response mechanism, which curtails our options, right? So this might change things. So this is just a second. Topological qubits, exotic state of matter. It's exotic states of matter is it's explained very well, and I'll link that video in the description by a very good tech reporter. So it's 1,000,000 qubits. So that's what I wanted to check. Okay. So 1,000,000 qubits is a pretty large deal. So what it does, it has the potential to bring a little more nuance into conversations. And so if we combine this, like the processors, the quantum computing processors coming into play, and AI being limited by its capacities right now, that might well change. You might actually have more humanistic approaches to the robots, and you might have that happening with chatbots as well.
I have I did a recording to give my voice for AI.
Oh.
And I had a very interesting conversation about, because that will be the future. And as an actor, you have to always look where your income is coming from. So I can't really do anything about that. I can't stop progress. So I did that. And then I had a talk with the guy yesterday who said, let's do another recording in a different kind of like a more like suspense thriller voice. And I said, see, it is very tiring for me. I can't do this right now because I have to like listen to it again because it's in German. And there's nobody in the studio who speaks German. So I have to check myself. And he said, when we started, with this. We always wanted it to be perfect. And then there were some people who had always an or and they actually liked those better. He said, you don't have to be
Oh,
perfect. Your pronunciation doesn't have to be perfect because the outcome is more natural. I'm like, and
wow,
there I
that
was
is
making myself crazy. I was making myself go gaga in the last recording because I was like, "Nee, ye Perselina, ye Perselina, ye Tigneya." So it's like I was reading in German, communicating with the guys in Hindi. So my brain went poof. Yeah. After that, I was talking German to Arjun and to my mom in Hindi. Like my computer broke that day. But that was
so.
definitely an interesting thing.
Right. No, I think Riverside has this thing where they take out the filler sounds, right? That recording platform. So I have a colleague, new colleague who used to work at Riverside, and he told me about that capabilities. So that sounds quite interesting. I thought that would go better for something like our podcast. But now that you're
Mm.
telling me that the natural flow is considered more, you know, nicer to listen to, so that's quite interesting. Well, Susanna, I think we've discussed quite a range of topics today, going from German elections to, I guess you're frozen, uh कुछ तो
It
भी
kicked
हुआ
me out.
है. Sorry,
Why
I
am I there
think.
twice?
Yeah, so
It kicked
you
me
that
out. Sorry.
bit, logs out and then back in. So anyway, I was just saying thank you so much for joining me today, because I think we've covered quite a range of topics, from German elections to, social media threads, the bot
Yeah.
effect, and then to AI. We've done quite a bit. So thank you so much for joining me, and hopefully I'll see you soon.
Okay.